Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 283 of a year of change. Today we're going to deviate once again from our regularly scheduled stuff. For the past few months we've been adding a new person every Tuesday. Another YouTuber, someone who either has just sort of started out or that they've been doing it for a while and they sort of fell by the wayside. We've had a number of different people. We've added about 30 people from when we first started. And I do want to sort of revisit those at a later date. We will be still keeping Tuesday as sort of a YouTube thing going. But today I wanted to really talk about just sort of the main reason why we start doing these vlogs. And everyone pretty much, I think, has the same reason for doing it. There's sort of the basic reason, of course, where we all just want to sort of lose weight and have something to just sort of talk through while we do things. But there's so many that just sort of start out and then they don't continue on. And then there are some that do it every single week, and there are some that have been going on for years. And I think there are a few things that sort of separate those people. That the ones that are just starting out, the ones that are going to be sticking with it, the ones that sort of come back to it over and over and over again. But I think overall, the main reason why we try to do something like this, and it's part of the reason why I did it as well, is that we do want to help other people. And pretty much every single time I add someone new, I do mention this because it's something that comes through in their videos, that there's always that sense that, yes, I'm doing this so that I can document my weight loss. I really want to make a change. It's, we know how difficult it is to get started. And that, we want help from other people. We want people to sort of engage and say, well, this might help and that might help and here's what I did. But in the same token, we also want to be able to provide some information for other people so that they'll be able to watch this and say, okay, you know what, I can try this, I can try that. It may not work and it may work. So there's just that sort of that sharing, that back and forth of information, I think is a big part of it. But there are so many that we've seen over the past 9 months or so that we've added on, and they've kept going for a while, and then they just sort of disappear. And then they come back, and then they disappear, and then there are some other people that just sort of start off really strong, and then real life interferes, or it gets to be too much, and they just sort of drop off. And, I mean, for me, when I first started doing this, and even going back, I mean, I haven't been doing this a very long time. I've only been doing it this a few months, but even going back to day one, it's really tough to watch. But originally, the reason why I wanted to start this, there were 2 or 3 main reasons. One, obviously, to help lose weight. More than anything, I needed some accountability because as adults, we don't have anyone that we need to answer to. We don't have someone that, we aren't going to get into trouble if we don't lose the weight. We aren't going to have to deal with someone saying, oh, tisk, tisk, you had a cookie. We're adults. We can pretty much do what we want. And, I mean, unless you're actually in a household where you're in an oppressive environment, which you should get the fuck out of. But if you're in an environment where, you're under that sort of pressure, where if you're not doing what you're told, then you do get in trouble, you're either very, very young or you're in a situation you shouldn't be in. But in general, as adults, we don't have anyone that we need to answer to. And a lot of us have probably tried to share with other people in the past and say, you know what, I want to lose weight. I'm going to try this diet or I'm going to try that diet. And generally speaking, they're very supportive, but we know they've heard this so many times before. And it's a little difficult to try to get excited when you're talking to someone about this and you can see in their face that they're just okay. And you know in their head that they're just, you're not going to stick with it. And usually it's people that don't understand just how difficult it is to just sort of get started. And although the getting started actually is fairly easy. We can get started over and over and over and over again. It's the sticking with it that seems to be the problem. And so part of the reason why I did this was I was just sort of tired of always starting something new and stopping and starting and stopping and not having anyone that I needed to really report to sort of aided in that. Because when you say to someone, well, I'm going to start doing this, they're your friends. If you don't stick with it, they aren't going to really ask. They're going to know that you didn't stick with it. They're going to notice that there hasn't been any weight loss. And you might have a couple of people that are asking you if they haven't seen you in a while, and they say, well, how are things going? And say, oh, I stopped. It's just it wasn't working. And that's usually where the conversation ends. And I really wanted to have something where when I did this, that if I stopped, number one, it would drive me nuts because I said I was going to do it for a year and I wanted to do it every single day. And even now, was to miss a day, that would drive me buggy. And right now, it's just starting on wintertime. This is the first snowfall that we've actually had. And of course, the first thing in my head I'm thinking is, what if we lose power? That's the only way that I'm going to end up missing a day. So part of it is that I want to be able to say, yes, I was able to do it every single day. But also, I know that at this stage, there are so many people that are out there that are on MyFitnessPal and that have commented on the videos and stuff like that. And even if it's not a huge number, it's a very tiny number. But there are people that are out there that I feel that I'm accountable to. That if I stop, that they're going to say, where are you? Why haven't you continued on with this? And don't go back to the way that you were. So having sort of that sense of accountability and responsibility and other abilities, it does help quite a bit. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this as well, just so that I could get it out there so that it's not just your friends that are going to say, well, it's okay, you tried. Strangers aren't going to be that kind. They'll call you on it. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this. But another reason was that that back and forth, that information sharing where I can look at, I had no idea what I was doing when I first started, and I still really don't. All I know is that this is what's working for me. I try to do it as slowly as possible. I tried to do, a little bit of exercise here and there. I didn't want it to be so much that I would go, I don't want to do this anymore. Same thing with the food changes. I didn't ever want to get to a point where I said, well, I can't have this and I can't have that. I've turned down plenty of offers for food. I was actually offered a free bag of cookies yesterday in a store. So I think they're just trying to get rid of them, but they just were carting around free bags of cookies. And they started at the produce aisle. I'm actually buying apples. And he went, did you get your bag of free cookies today? No, thank you. That's okay. I mean, obviously, I understand. He looked at me and went, he's going to want cookies. We can get rid of them. He can probably take more than one bag. But completely off topic. Sorry. But what was I talking about? That I got off target with cookies. Yes, not cutting out foods. I've had cookies. I've had cakes. I've had junk food. I've had, all sorts of stuff, which is probably why I haven't lost as, quickly as I would like to. But I never wanted to get to a point where I cut it out entirely and just said, I can't have that. Because at that point, you're going to break, you're going to binge, and you're just going to lose control. So being able to say, yes, I can have that, but I won't. For some reason, there's something that's a little bit different in my head. That when I look at something and say, I can if I wanted to, but I really don't because I don't want to undo the damage I've done today. And it doesn't take very much. So it's a little easier to say no to stuff like that. So being able to have that accountability sort of helps with that as well. But just also talking things out, sharing information back and forth so that, there's stuff that I have learned that I never would have looked up on my own. Even if I was doing this by myself, I'm not going to go look up fiber. I'm not going to go look up, differences in sugar and salt. Yeah, that's right. I thought they were the same thing for a second. I was going to say sodium and salt. For sugar and sodium and all the other stuff. I know that salt is bad for me, and I knew that sugar was bad for me, but I probably wouldn't have cut back on the coffee because in my head I would think, you know what, it's not that bad. That's where I'm getting my sugar. It's fine. Not realizing just how much sugar is in everything. So I do sort of get a lot of information from this as well. So there have been a number of different things, and I wanted to sort of help create a community where people could go and talk back and forth. And I remember at the very beginning, I wanted to get 1,000 people by the end of the year. Nowhere near, not even half of, I'm not even 5% of that. So half of a percent, I guess. No, that's not right, because 10 would be a percent. So about 4% of where I wanted to be. But it doesn't matter because there have been some people I've talked with that have been great, that we've been able to sort of cheer each other on back and forth. That helps a lot as well, having a stranger saying, you know what, yes, there's just to sort of validate what you're doing. But this is sort of off topic because the main reason why I wanted to sort of start this up was for anyone that's out there that decides, I want to start losing weight, I want to start doing this, and whether you're watching this or whether you're watching one of the other people that we have in the playlist, you're going to get some different information from other people. You're going to be able to find different methods that work for you, things like that. But for any of you that are looking to start something like this, that you think, well, I'd like to start up my own, whether it's in writing or on YouTube or on just a podcast or something like that, for me, it has helped a great deal. Just being able to talk things out And to be able to say, like, assume that I'm talking with a whole bunch of people, and there's something different in it, rather than just talking to a friend or a family member and saying, I'm really trying to lose weight. I'm trying this and this and this, because they've heard it so many times. Even if you're sticking with it, you're not going to get that same reaction that you're going to get from strangers. And there are going to be people that are out there that you're going to be able to help. There are going to be people that are going to be able to help you. So if you've decided that you want to try something like that, I would highly recommend it. Whether it's video or audio, or even just in words. If you've decided, go up to, what was the other one? Because I was going to say there's Tumblr was probably the best bet. There's another one. WordPress is old. I don't know where all the wordy places are. But if you decide to go up and create a blog or do videos or do a podcast or anything like that, I found that it helps. Just having that accountability and being able to talk it out, and even just being able to vent once in a while. When you've had a really shitty week and you just think, I want cake and pizza and nothing good. I just want junk food for the entire weekend. Being able to vocalize that and have other people understand, and not have them come back and just go, well, don't do that because you should have this and this and this. And if you do that, it's like, I know it's bad. I know I shouldn't be having it. Let me vent. That's what I'm here for. I want to be able just to say, this is what I want. I'm not going to have it. It's like when someone says, I just want to kick someone in the throat. Chances are they're not actually going to do it. So you don't need to lecture them and say, well, if you do that, then they're going to call the police. You're going to get charged with assault. I know that. Let me just vent for a while. So it does help. But if you have anything that you find is going to help you sort of, I don't want to really say stay motivated, because it's so hard. Like, there are a lot of times when I just don't want to continue on. I don't want to do my treadmill in the morning. I don't feel like, recording. I don't feel like doing any of this stuff. It's not a matter of staying motivated. It's really just a matter of saying, you know what, this is what I need to do. And it does help keep you going in that respect. In that it's not going to keep you, all uppy, happy, cheery-go-lucky. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Positive. There we go. That's what I'm trying to think of. I should tell you something. It's not going to get you into a really positive frame of mind and say, oh, this is so much fun. I'm really enjoying this. You are going to have days where that is the case. There are days I actually absolutely love this, and I do still enjoy it. I like being able to talk back and forth with you and being able to vent and say what I want and not have to worry. And everything else that goes along with it. It's a nice investment of my time, and it's something substantial that I can go and look back and say, this is what it took for me to lose the weight. It wasn't, the diet and exercise obviously is a very big part of it, but I've tried it before and I've always just stopped or failed, or however you want to look at it, quit. But this is something that just having that daily routine, and it's been all over the place. I try to record at roughly the same time. I try to do all my stuff at the same time, but it never really works out. But being able to have that one thing, that anchor point, where I can say, okay, I need to do this every single day, that has helped a great deal. Logging on MyFitnessPal has helped. Just for me, having that order and that structure, that's what's done it for me. And it may not work for everyone. We've seen other people that are just saying, it's not for me. It's still working for them. They're still doing what they need to do. They're losing weight. They're doing great. But they aren't even on MyFitnessPal, or they have a blog, or they have just a podcast, or even if it's just writing in a journal for yourself that no one else is seeing. Whatever it's going to take for you to get to that stage where this is what I can grab onto. This is my I want to say anchor point again. You know what I mean. This is my island in the storm. There you go, for a nice poetic metaphor. This is the one thing. This is my constant. That throughout everything, no matter what happens, no matter when it's holidays and I decide, okay, well, I'm going to let myself go a little bit, I'll gain a little bit of weight and I'll try to come back to it, or when you get sick and you can't do what you want to do, or if you get injured and you can't exercise, or if you find that your health problems are increasing, so you have to tweak things that way. You have one constant through the whole thing that you're still going to be able to grab onto. And I find that has helped a great deal. The community has been terrific as well throughout MyFitnessPal and with YouTube. And we've got a couple of bots that are on there every once in a while that will just keep spamming everything, but I've blocked them as much as I can. But the people that do respond are really good. And I haven't had any negative comments yet, which is amazing. I think it's probably because no one's watching. But in general, it still makes me feel better that there are no negative comments yet. someday they will happen, but we're sort of out of the scary part of the woods at that point. So that's really the only advice that I would recommend, that if you're watching this, and whether it's just watching a video or whether it's, writing things down in a diary, or if you have a specific time of day that's your hour where, every single day at the same time, that's you time where you can go and you can do whatever you want to do. You go for a walk, or you just sit and listen to music, or sit in silence, or whatever it is. As long as you have that one point, something consistent that I think is related to the weight loss, I think it's going to help. It has for me a great deal. And out of everything, I would say having that consistency and having something that you can keep coming back to that's not necessarily related to food or exercise or anything else, that's going to help. The accountability helps. Having a good community helps as well. We have met some really, really good people on this channel, and they've all been terrific. And some of them have sort of gone by the wayside. Some of them have stuck with us for a long, long time, and some of them have gone and come back, and they're just sort of all over the place. But we understand that's what it's like. That's what we've gone through for so many years and so many times, starting and stopping and quitting, and starting in the new year again, and just being all gung-ho and really thinking that this is going to be the time that you're going to do it, and then not being able to follow through for whatever reason. And then, of course, that whole cycle of hating yourself and just gaining the weight back, and then getting to that point again where you think, no, enough is enough, I'm going to try again, and so you start over. And we've all been there. We've seen it with ourselves. We've seen it with so many other people. But I find that, a good community, having that structure, and especially having something that you can go to that is going to keep you on board when there's, you have the shitty weeks, and when you're having those cravings, and when you wake up from a binge from the night before, that you're going to be able to go back to and pick up where you left off. And it doesn't mean that you've ended anything, or that you've, lost all the progress that you've done, or that you've just said, oh, well, I've obviously blown it, so I'm just going to quit. It's just getting to that point where you can just keep going and say, you know what, yes, I had a bad week, or I had a bad day, or even just this whole month has just been a wash. Pick up where you left off. You'll have something consistent that you'll be able to go to. And, I think it's a big key component for me, for keeping me on track. I'm not going as fast as I want to go, but it's been steady through the whole thing. I've hit my halfway point, and I've stayed at my halfway point. By the end of the year, then I'm happy with it, and I know I can keep on going from there. So I'm not sure if this was very helpful. This originally had intended on being a bit of advice, but I don't know if it's any good. It worked for me. That's the only thing I can think of. And a lot of stuff that we've done has been, this is what's working for me. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, look around. We've got a bunch of other people, even just on the channel alone, and there are hundreds of other vloggers out there that are on YouTube and every other website that you can think of that are doing the same thing, whether it's, they've already lost the weight and they're continuing on, or whether they're just starting out. You will find something that's going to work for you and get you to a point where you can say, you know what, this is it. This is the thing I'm going to be able to stick with. And then as long as you do stick with it, you're going to be okay. So that is the end of my pep talk. That's all I wanted to say. Aren't really adding anybody today. Aren't going to add anyone for a little while, actually, because I sort of want to go back and revisit the people that we have been looking at over the past few months, touch base with them, see how they're doing again. Because I find that, once they sort of drop off and you try to keep up with them, there are so many in there, and you're adding new people that I feel bad. Some of them have sort of gone by the wayside. I'd like to make contact with them again and just see how they're doing, and follow up, and go from there, and just even if it's just to say hi, not make them feel bad or anything, just to say hello. But anyway, I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me, and in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.